Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, family. Good morning, future grand babies. I hope everyone is doing awesome this morning. I popped up in here this morning just to say hello. And I had a few thoughts. I don't know why I was dreaming about it, but I was dreaming about riding at night. Oh, there goes that e-bike. Hey, man, don't hate me. I know my combustibles and my bag of folks. And like, what the hell are you showing that for? I'm showing it because I like it. I like riding my e-bike. But you know, I don't show enough of my outcasts anymore. Like I just really dig riding that bike. That's why I don't get rid of it, you know? But of course, you already know, I love riding my Pursuit. That is my go-to bike, my daily bike, my travel bike. You know, my Overcast over there is my once in a while bike. I don't ride that as much anymore, mostly because I was introduced to what a full-size bagger can do. But when I was dreaming and thinking about riding at night, thoughts came to me. And I'm one of those guys that has to write their thoughts down just to stay on point, to stay in order. And so I did. I woke up this morning before I forgot, because you forget your dreams sometimes, right? So I wrote down some notes in regards to riding at night, and so I just want to share that with you. You know, riding at night can feel like a peaceful escape, but if you not taking it seriously, if you're not prepared, it can most definitely be very dangerous. And I'm talking to beginner riders and returning riders. I'm not talking to seasoned riders, because, I presume a seasoned rider who's been riding for a little bit knows what to do, knows how to prepare. Now, me personally, I ride majority of my time during the day, only because I just feel like I'm older, I want my eyes to see a little bit better. I wear glasses. Now, I will leave out in the morning. Now, I'll leave out at old dark 30. But as a general rule, I stay in the daylight. I don't like to ride at night. Now, I'll tell you, the first time I really experienced this was last year. My first time riding cross country to go anywhere. I was on my way to Phoenix, Arizona, to visit my beautiful mother. And I was trying to make it out further than that, but I hung out with my mother, so I didn't make it. But I stayed at Phoenix and then I rode back to the East Coast, right? But on my way there, I stopped in, I was going through Jackson Pearl, Mississippi airport area, which is, of course, in Mississippi. But when the lights went out, or rather when the sun went down, the lights went out, completely. And it really was kind of a shocker. Now, I was about 6 hours, at the time I thought I was 4 hours away from Dallas, but I was about 6 hours away from Dallas. And it was sunset, the sun had went down, it was dark. And this is the bike I did it on, right? So, as you can see, there's a Shark Demon headlight. Those two signal lights are actually custom dynamic. And in here are some vent lights, all of which was not in the vehicle. So right here is a saddlebag light, right? That was installed for my trip, right? I just figured, extra light, it works really well. Let me get one. All of which, again, was not on the vehicle. Well, no, the lights were, but one of them went out. Daggone it, Mississippi, your fault again. No offense, I love Mississippi. It was a good state to ride through. But I went through a rough patch of road and I hit a bump and the wire popped on my daggone light. So I was down on a light. I had 4 taillights back there. One of them went out. I was like, oh my gosh. That was my add-on. So, and I didn't have a replacement or a wire, something to solder the wire back in. It would have been too much work. So I just disconnected the other one, ran with my brake-free light on my helmet, and I had the 2 brake lights that are installed on the vehicle. The reason why this is important, at least for me, I think, visibility is key, I believe in visibility. So if you are a new rider and you decide that you're gonna ride at night, I would say practice some type of visibility. One of the reasons why I chose Casper as my new ride, he's white. It's a white bike. It had a lot of lights. Plus I had added, I went to Daytona last year as well for the first time. And I don't know if you know this, but I added fame lights to my bike. But I will tell you this, as just opinion, as an opinion, I think Indian did a wonderful job with the lighting on this vehicle. My fog lights and what have you are excellent. Admittedly, I have to work on my rear lights a little more. Got to do some work on that and get those up to par. So here's a partial list that I wrote in the early morning. At night, your depth perception changes. That is true. I mean, at least for me, I'm a blind mellow without these glasses sometimes, you know. Drivers are more distracted. Now, I did do a video a while back where I said, or where I noted that I found out more accidents happen between 6 and 9, I think it was, or in the evening time, basically. I have to go back and look at my notes, but in the evening time and on, you know, those hours, you know, you're really susceptible to being injured or in some type of collision. Road hazards are harder to spot, even. I mean, animals, debris, those things at night are harder to spot, especially when you get out there in those Midland or Midwestern areas or towards the Midwest. The lighting between cities goes down, right? So the states, they put a lot of lighting on the highway in certain areas. I would say this as well. When it gets cool, and I just thought about this, when it gets cool outside, I've noticed in my lifetime that the cooler hours, those animals get out there as well, so you gotta know that when the sun goes down and it's cool, they come out. I got some, what they call them Spar Lights also on the Indian. And so I got them top, and I got them at the bottom of my, I got them on the top of my tour pack. And of course I have the brake lights that originally come with the vehicle. Now I'll tell you, the Spar Lights they're from Zero, right? Highly recommend them if you don't have them, if you want to get some, especially if you're an Indian rider, if you're riding a Challenger or a Pursuit, definitely look into Zero products. I know they do a lot for Honda Goldwing as well. I'm giving them a shout out. Very good folks over there at Zero. So let's be honest, when you buy a Harley Davidson, most of the time, the headlights suck. No offense, Harley, I love your product, but you do have to upgrade the lights. That's what it looks like now that I've added the custom dynamic lighting, the Sharp Demon headlight. And of course, I'm not sponsored by anybody, and this is just what I use and what I'm going to say I'm happy with. That's the rear of the bike of Overcast. Very bright, very bright. So when I go out with Overcast, I am not at all as nervous as I used to be. Plus, when I was a first-time rider, it was more of a, some of it was jitters, but definitely equipment. I could not really see when I was out there in Jackson Pearl Airport area. So for the Overcast, this is just really what I decided to do for me, right? You don't have to do what I'm doing. You do what you want to do. I'm not telling you that my bike is the best bike. Just telling you this is what I did in my meager experience as a new rider of touring bikes and cruisers. And since this is my first bike from Harley, I decided that I was going to do the Harley thing and hook up my stuff. Because that's what Harley riders do, right? Well, most motorcyclists do, but Harley riders, they like to customize and make things better, so that's what they do. So I will tell you this, that when it comes to, the headlights don't come on initially, but when it comes to this bike, it is awesome. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got the ones down there at the bottom as well. Very bright at night, very bright. So I just turned it on real quick so you can see the headlight and the Spar Lights on Casper, Let me turn these four-ways on. It is daytime, so maybe you'll get a better view. So here it is, Casper lit up, with the fangs and the fog lights. And of course, the Spar Lights, the top and the bottoms, right? Now, I like those a lot. Very visible, you can see them from the side, you can see them from the under. Casper is a bad boy, let me tell you. And I appreciate the job that Zero did for me, because I feel like I'm fairly visible. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I'd like to get some more lights, maybe an undercarriage or what do they call it, underglow lights as well. But it does help to have what I have. Again, upgrading is completely up to you. I will tell you that it is very wise to do so if you're looking to do so. In short, behavior matters, but being able to be seen is what's most important, in my opinion. Getting lights on the back of your motorcycle or on the sides of your motorcycle, your underglow, your headlights, allows others to be aware of you in their blind spots. So here's something I added to my list this morning as well, right? You need to be able to scan aggressively when you're riding at night. This is something you need to do more often. Look left and right. You know, when I was an infantryman on top of a Bradley, you know, back in the day, you know, we were taught to, even though, you know, my gunner was scanning, you know, right, I might be looking left, you know. We scanned aggressively for enemy movements and things like that, you know, in my infantry days, and, you know, be on a ridge line somewhere on a stand to, and we basically had to watch and scan and, you know, watch the horizon, make sure nobody was moving in on us while we were getting prepared for the day or prepared for movement. So scan aggressively. You should do the same kind of scanning, in my opinion, if you ride a motorcycle, right? Also, ride slower than you do during the day. Gives you more time for reaction, right? Definitely avoid tailgating. I see so many motorcyclists, you know, and I'm new, so I'm not trying to be critical of anybody with more skill than me, but I question your ability to be skillful. I mean, maybe I'm older and I'm, you know, just looking at it from a different point of view. When you're riding on the tail with somebody, how do you expect to stop? How do you expect to maneuver, man? I ain't gonna lie. Now, I don't let nobody just jump up in front of me. However, I do ride aggressively, you know, professionally aggressively, respectfully aggressively to ensure my safety on two wheels, right? So, but if I sure try to keep 2 cars length or a car length and a half time frame, a 7-second, 8-second time distance lane, so I don't, you know, in the lane, so I don't run into the back of someone or get hit. I mean, I don't wear a lot of reflective gear because I have a white bike and a lot of lights. But if you don't, you can sub your light situation for reflective gear. Wear some high vis stuff, orange, green, what have you, right? Me personally, I'm into the break-free helmet light. I am not a sponsor of that company. I'm not sponsored rather by that company. However, it's a fantastic product. So I got to talk about what's good. You know, I'm not going to diss them. So check it out. Maybe you'll get some love from them on that. But be mindful of your visor. You know, scratches, smudges, you know, small little nicks, things like that can affect your visibility. So I personally carry a couple of extra visors. I carry extra tint visor, an extra clear visor, because I wear tinted visors during the day, and then of course I wear clear ones at night. Listen, night riding isn't for everyone, so I'm not suggesting you should force yourself to ride at night, but I am suggesting that if you do ride at night, ensure that you make yourself safe, make yourself visible, make yourself, you know, seen so that you can be safe and get home to your family. Be safe, be seen. All right, YouTube family, y'all be easy. I hope everyone has a great start to their day. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for my next appointment and then have a good day. Listen, you know what it is. If you got yourself a motorcycle in your garage collecting dust, pull it out, dust it off, gas it up, and enjoy the ride.